I'm going to try to be brief on this. Hello, everyone out there, casual fanatics. It's Jeremy, and I'm going to try to be quick because the last time I tried recording this morning, it cut off on me because I was talking too much. I wanted to give kind of some distance from WrestleMania before I gave my thoughts on it, mostly because I had a lot to think about last night after the show, and I was just honestly, last night I was just drained after the show, and we'll get into why. I've come to the conclusion that WWE has this trouble with they can create matches and start storylines, but they don't know how to finish them anymore. And it's kind of a weird thing, I have a love-hate relationship with wrestling, largely, partially due to that. Um, I keep watching it, and yet it hurts me, and yet I can't stop. I mean, not for any significant period of time. I end up coming back. Something ends up bringing me back for whatever reason, even if it's just for the sake of pure Schadenfreude. But you know, WWE has got this history now of being able to create storylines that sound interesting, but not being able to pull them off correctly or end them correctly. And that was pretty much the theme of the night last night. That's how things went at WrestleMania. Um, but before we get into WrestleMania, a study in contrast here. NXT Takeover had me excited from pillar to post. Every single match on that card was fantastic. The tag championship match between the American Alpha and the Revival was great. Of course, the debuts of Austin Aries and Shinsuke Nakamura were off the chain. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn was the most Japanese match I have ever seen in the U.S. It was very much playing to Shinsuke's strong style, both him and Sammy. And yeah, the women's championship match, Bayley versus Asuka. I love both of those girls dearly. I'm very glad Asuka won because I think I'm in love with her. Um, it's well known here on Casual Mode that I do have a thing for girls that can kick my ass. Um, and the main event match at Takeover, Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was busted open hard way within 30 seconds, and of course immediately the referees pounced upon him. But even though the referees had like about 3 opportunities where it looked like they were going to end the match, they didn't, and I think that's because they had Triple H in their ear going, "What the hell are you doing? Let them fight. The crowd's going to turn on us if you don't let them fight." And it ended up being a better match for it because Balor just kept going for the eye. But yeah, both Takeover and WrestleMania, I commented with. I was in TeamSpeak for to Smarty with some of my fellow subscribers there. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, in honor of Chibi Styles, like the hat, got it at Hastings. Evie Beanie, couldn't resist. I was commentating WrestleMania with some of the fellow subscribers for to Smarty and his TeamSpeak chat. And yeah, the consensus that we came from was a lot of the matches were really great, but a lot of the endings sucked. Um, Probably the only good match of the night was right at the beginning of the main show proper, which was the Intercontinental Championship versus the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. The person who won that was someone who was not scheduled to be in it until Neville injured himself. The winner and your new Intercontinental champion, is Zack Ryder. Woo woo woo, you know it. It's really cool. He got to be there, celebrate with his dad, hold up a title. It's been a long time coming for him. But Jericho versus Styles. For one thing, the wrong person went over. I love Chris Jericho. I'm a huge Jerichoholic. Everybody who knows me knows that. But AJ really should have had this one. And it was a great match. But the problem is there wasn't any stakes going into this. It was their fourth match in 2 months. If it had been the second match, or maybe the third rubber match at WrestleMania, it would have meant a little more. But it was the fourth. And they were just squished too closely together. And they'd had the tag team thing in the middle there that lasted inordinately short. It was dumb that how they handled that, and it didn't serve the match any favors. The women's championship match, not the Divas championship match, it's the women's championship. They got a new belt and everything. Looks like the World Heavyweight Championship match, except white and red. And again, really great match. I love Sasha Banks. She and I are fellow Sailor Moon fans. Moon Pride, motherfucker. And I absolutely love Becky Lynch. She was the one I was rooting for to win this because it's about damn time she never did get the NXT Women's Championship. Why not have her inaugurate the Women's Championship? Of course, the third person in the match was Rule 63 Ric Flair. I mean Charlotte. Out of these three women, who do you think should have won the match? If you said Charlotte Flair, congratulations, you probably have a good shot at a job with WWE Creative. If you said Sasha or Becky, congratulations, you only get shame and disappointment. And to make matters even worse, Charlotte got the win by tapping out my girl. No respect Becky gets. No respect at all. Then we have Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose. And it was pretty wild. Not as wild as I thought it was going to be. And the build-up that they'd done where they introduced Barbie and they introduced Chainsaw Charlie. And, well, the chainsaw we knew wasn't going to get any play because it's a fucking lethal weapon. But Barbie did not get any play. And honestly, the ending of the match looked botched. The ending of the match looked like a complete failure. It looked like Dean Ambrose was supposed to kick out there, and did, but late. Dean, I love you, but that's just, you screwed up the bar. Shane O'Mac versus The Undertaker. That was undoubtedly the spotlight stealing match of the night. It was so much better than it had any rights to be. I mean, Shane McMahon is 46. Undertaker is over 50. And those two just went balls out, or at least as balls out as you can go with the PG rating still intact. It went all around the cell. It went all around the ring. The stairs were dislodged. At one point, Shane O'Mac brought out some bolt cutters, and they went through the cell almost right into the laps of the German announce table. That's right, there were probably about 8 announce tables, 3 down on the floor, 5 up in a different location. The German announce table didn't get demolished in this match. but the American and Spanish ones did. And actually, the Spanish announce table was the target for the big spot of the night, because one of the people in the team speak, Car Caligari, who is also a wrestler for a manager for one of the Smart Way Out sim wrestlers, Troc, as I am to Action Nash Bozard there. We were both debating whether or not it was going to go through the cell, up the cell, or both. And I figured it was going to go up. He figured it was going to go through. By the time the bolt cutters came out and Shane McMahon was starting to look up at the top, we knew it was going to be both. So he's got the Undertaker laid out on the Spanish announce table, and he's looking up at the cell. And of course, at this point, we know for certain what's going to happen, but we're so invested in the match that we don't want it to happen. We're both like, you have a family, Shane. Your kids are at ringside. They came out to the ring with you. Your wife is at ringside. Your mom is watching. Your dad doesn't give a fuck, but whatever. Your family is watching. Please don't do this, Shane. And even as he went up to the top of the cell, people started chanting, please don't die. Please don't die. And, you know, he crosses himself, does the leap of faith elbow drop. Undertaker rolls out of the way. Splat. Flat on his back. That had to stung something awful. I don't think it may have legitimately hurt him, though. He was carted out at the end of the match, but I don't think it was a legit card out. I think it was work. But the ending to the match was the Undertaker giving him the tombstone in the middle of the ring in the Hell in the Cell. 1, 2, 3. I think this was a misstep. See, my antibiotic. See, I think there's more stories that could have been told with Shane winning. Because the two key threads with this were, if The Undertaker loses, his WrestleMania run is done. And if Shane wins, he gains control of Monday Night Raw. Undertaker's no spring chicken. And he's a very old school guy. And the old school mantra is that when you're going out, you go out putting someone over. Now, you could say that, yes, Shane McMahon probably didn't need the bump. And in that case, I would argue, well, then he should have gone out 3 years ago when he was fighting CM Punk. But the other side of it is that there are more stories to be told with Shane McMahon having control of Raw and Steph and Triple H being relegated to SmackDown. They are stories that have been told before in the WWE, yes, but they are still compelling stories. WWE doesn't have a very far-sighted creative team anymore. Or if they ever did, I don't know when exactly. Certainly during the Monday Night Wars, their creative team couldn't afford to be very far-sighted because they were just fighting for survival on a month-to-month basis. They were fighting for ratings every single week. But now, WWE is the top of the game. They are the biggest dog. Every other promotion that's out there is basically trying to find a solid niche to be in. You've got Ring of Honor for the truly hardcore fans. You've got New Japan on Access TV for those who are a fan of the pure athleticism of strong style. You've got Lucha Underground for those who like the storylines, because it is a sci-fi telenovela with pro wrestling. And you've got TNA for the people who are completely masochistic and like watching the world burn. And at this stage in the game, WWE can afford to think about what their plans are going to be in long stretches of time. They can afford to think several months, a year, 2, 3 years down the road. They can afford to do that, and they're not. They're just, what they're doing is they're struggling to stay relevant. And when you're the top company, having the appearance that you're just fighting to stay relevant is not a good way to go. By the time that we got to the main event, well, I need to roll it back a little bit here because this is actually going to tell something about the main event. Before the main event, we had The Rock come out, announce the record-breaking attendance of the AT&T Stadium, which actually looked pretty plausible because that place looked fucking packed. All the way to the ceiling, it looked packed. And then the Wyatts come out, and that led to, well, first a 6-second squash match against The Rock from Eric Rowan. Yeah, way to put Eric Rowan over. And of course, the Wyatts surround and go to attack The Rock. And a wild John Cena appears. And he gets cheers. Quite a lot of cheers, actually. Not one of the biggest pops of the night, but definitely a very, very significant pop. Contrast that to the entrances for the main event. Triple H gets, well, his usual theatricality was pretty cool, so we did get a significant reaction from that. Roman Reigns got one of two things, depending on how you listen to it. He either got booed so hard that they had to mute the crowd microphones, or he got sheer apathy. I think we have found the magic formula to get John Cena cheers again. Put him in a match against Roman Reigns. The crowd turned on that match's mere existence. And honestly, so did I, because by that time, I had had enough parts of my soul killed that I wasn't certain I had any remaining. In the immortal words of Phil Collins, I don't care anymore. I mean, well, we had Stephanie McMahon aiding in the theatrical entrance, looking like she was trying to dress up as Beyonce, which, of course, she has one major problem with that. Steph, you're not black. But the match itself, through most of the night over in the TeamSpeak, we were basically being an alternate commentary track, and honestly, probably better than the actual Yahoos at ringside. But by the time this match came around, the only thing that we could say was, oh God, please let it end. Please let it be over. I don't care how it ends anymore. Just let it end. Oh God. Oh, thank God, Triple H is going to make Roman Reigns tap out. Fuck! Match is still going. God damn it. Yeah, when you manage to make a world championship match feel lifeless and meaningless, you know something has gone horribly wrong. That should not be happening. That should not be a thing that happens in any promotion, let alone WWE in the year 2016. If they don't care about the biggest match on your card, anything good that you have done before then is rendered moot. It's what killed WCW. They had a great undercard that they completely squandered because they focused all the tension on very boring, pointless, meaningless main events that no one gave two shits about. And the problem is that WWE doesn't have someone to adequately challenge them right now. TNA is one foot in the grave. Ring of Honor is fantastic, but they're not going to ascend to that level anytime soon. Lucha Underground is niche and it knows it. So, if you want to be a top international wrestling superstar, you've got to be in WWE. At this point, many of these guys who are on the main roster are probably wondering, I should have stayed in NXT. I have to wonder if somewhere in the back of his mind, AJ Styles isn't wondering if he shouldn't have gone to NXT instead of coming up straight up to the main roster. Oh, I did forget one moment. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Ooh. DDP's there. That was a cool moment. Tatanka was there. Yeah. Baron Corbin is there. Cool. Baron Corbin won. What you gonna do? Yeah. I can't even bring myself to give this show a rating. Because here's the thing. Even now, after a full night's sleep, I don't have the energy to be mad at the show. And that's probably the most damning thing that I can say. This is a WrestleMania that left me feeling lifeless and cold. It didn't leave me feeling happy. It didn't leave me feeling angry. It left me feeling nothing. And in wrestling, you want them leaving feeling something. Whether it's mad that the heel did not yet get his comeuppance or happy that the babyface finally got his due. You want the crowd to feel something. So, to have a crowd leaving either in X-Pac heat mode or just completely drained of life, that is the biggest failure that you can commit. And the sad thing is, I know WWE's made buku bucks off of this. From ticket sales alone. I mean, 100,000 plus people in that one place. They've made that money alone. Then, of course, you factor in merchandise sales, WWE Network subscriptions, pay-per-view buys. It's all going to add up. WWE has made buku bucks off of this WrestleMania. I just wish they hadn't made my money off of it. Honestly, I feel like this wasn't worth $10. I feel like the other stuff that I've been watching on the WWE Network while leading up to it has been more worth the $10 than the WrestleMania itself. And for the poor people who paid for it on pay-per-view, instead of being able to get to it on the WWE Network or any other broadcast network around the world, I feel sorry for you because you got royally hosed. because you had NXT TakeOver Dallas be an example of what WWE can be. And you have WrestleMania taking that example and shitting all over it. And this is why most of my wrestling that I actually care about these days is either a simulated computer versus computer league, smart way out, or so completely fantastical and amazing Lucha Underground. Because from them, I know what to expect. I'm always going to have a good time with those. With WWE, even if I expect I'm going to have a good time, I'm probably going to be let down. I still love professional wrestling as an athletic art form and to some degree as a storytelling medium. It is as prone to issues as any other form of storytelling. It is just as prone to laziness and lack of care as any other form. And last night's WrestleMania showed that all too well. May today bring things that revitalize our souls again. May this hurt be temporary. May all of us come back from it stronger. May we find good things in our lives, things more important to focus on. May that heal the damage that has been caused by the doldrum that was WrestleMania 32. Keep it casual, y'all.